Now, California has recently passed something known as the eraser law, and if you don't know anything about it, have no worry, we have a video that explains it in more detail.
And in a digital age where teens are jockeying for online attention, they come up with all kinds of crazy antics to get noticed. Like this, or that. You get the idea. And these teens will be potentially haunted for the rest of their lives. They fill out a job application, the boss looks at their Twitter feed and says, you did that as a kid? No thanks. But now for teens that live in California, all they have to do is enact the eraser law, and the internet company has to take down the pictures of the bad stuff they did. However, there are quite a few caveats to this law. The activity has to take place while you're a minor, and the minor has to request that the item be taken down. The data can't be scrubbed if someone else uploaded the image. And it doesn't apply to grown-ups who want pictures from their rowdy youth taken offline. And obviously, teens can already delete inappropriate Facebook posts or tweets, so the law doesn't do much. And the other issue is, once it's seen online, it's been seen. It wouldn't have saved these kids from trouble.
I love the criticism of the law in that video. I think that she points to a lot of really relevant loopholes within the law. And also, I mean, I think if you want to pass something like this, you might want to do so on a federal level. But again, it's the World Wide Web. And as soon as you post something, boom, you know, it's up there. And it will remain online regardless of how many websites attempt to take it down.
I really wish that this had that we'd had the internet when George Bush, Dick Cheney, Bill Clinton, anyone who's led this country for the last 30 years had been teenagers, and we would have. Can you imagine if Snapchat had existed when George Bush was in college? You know, there would be, and now there's this total normalization though, where we see a guy, he smoked pot, he's in the White House, that's perfectly fine. 50 years from now, it's very possible that it will be normalized. It'll become standard. When he was 17, he put his, that happens.
Yeah.
It just happens. Everybody does that.
That's actually a really fascinating silver lining of all of our privacies being violated, because the government's peeking into our activity online. What kind of porn are you watching? What kind of email exchanges are you having? And people are worried that stuff is going to get leaked online. But I think eventually, at some point, everything is going to get leaked. We're all going to know the dirty about everyone, and things will all be normalized. I don't know how I really feel about that. I think that I'm always going to be a little uncomfortable with it. But you're right about the pot thing. 50 years ago, it was inconceivable that someone would get elected if it turned out that they had smoked pot.
I think we as a species are still evolving to understand how to live with the internet. This is still so new. I mean, most of us sitting here can remember a time when there was no internet, or we didn't use it regularly. And so I think, based on, following up on what you were just saying with the normalization, we're still evolving, not just on accepting that there's going to be a certain part of our history that will be preserved, but on what we put on there in the first place. Yes. I think we are all still, like kids in a candy store. We want to post everything on Facebook. We want to constantly tell people our innermost thoughts, and I'm hoping that as humans we will learn to control that impulse in a few decades as we understand the consequences of building up this history, and we'll be passing the wisdom down to our grandchildren. Don't put these pictures up on the internet because they will haunt you like they haunted me.
Well, Shane, I mean, I think that parents should definitely jump in and say, hey, you know what, if you take a nude picture and you post it online, or if you take a nude picture and you send it to your boyfriend, they can post it online and it'll destroy your life. And that kind of activity happens all the time on the internet. I mean, unfortunately, there have been teenagers that have taken their own lives as a result of their nude pictures being leaked on the internet. Don't you think that it might be a good idea to have some sort of curriculum, maybe a class in grade school that teaches them, hey, you know what, these are the consequences of your actions online?
Yeah, I mean, you ask, should the parents protect the kids, but I wonder if the kids should be protected from the parents. Because I have a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old, and I can assure you the first pictures my kids will delete later on Facebook are the ones I have posted of them with this little, little cheeks in the bathtub. And so I think that's the real problem.
I know, and I've thought about that a lot, actually. I don't have my own kids, but I have a lot of friends who just had babies, and they post as many pictures as they possibly can of their kids online, and of course it's really cute, but that kid has never consented to putting those pictures up. So that person has already created, or that person's parents has already created some sort of online profile that they never consented to.
What I think is much more likely to happen is simply a change in the culture. When I talk to the kids today, I'm 50, but when I talk to people who are, say, of a younger generation, 30, The concept of privacy, when I talk at a college or I was just at a high school last week, the very concept of privacy, the perception of what privacy is changing as fundamentally and as rapidly as our perception of what elsewhere is. When I was a kid, elsewhere was the next town you had to go to. Now you can get information from China faster than I could find out what was happening 10 miles from me when I was a kid. Our concept of the size of the world, our ability to communicate, is just fundamentally shifting within one generation. And kids who are going to be running the world in 30 years, they already have a fundamentally different view of what privacy is and how much of it matters. And we can't predict how that's going to shake out in any particular way, but I'm not kidding when I do think that it will be normalized that, yeah, you did ridiculous stuff when you were young, yeah, and we'll just accept it the same way we now accept, pot in the White House.
I frankly am more worried about, your comment about people posting their pictures of their kids online prompted this. I worry about how big companies like Facebook, etc., will use pictures that you post without your permission. This is even beyond like Big Brother and government snooping, which is a whole different topic, but Instagram and all of these companies where we post images of people, ourselves, our children, our family, they're essentially technically up for grabs.
Absolutely.
That misuse scares
me. I wonder about the separation, the idea that there's some sort of separation between Facebook and the government. We know that, although I'm again totally serious, and I hope Lord Zuckerberg will not have me executed by drone for saying this in my permanent record when this is found on the internet in 2 years.
Well, what I think a lot of people fail to realize is there's certainly a price to pay for this free social networking site, right? There's this misconception that, hey, Facebook is free, but no, it's not free. Facebook uses your information, sells it to a third party in order to get advertisements. So that's the way that business model works, and do with that information what you may, but it does lead to some issues. But just going back to what you had said, Sonali, about these websites and these social networking sites using our information or our pictures, just a few years ago, Instagram was facing a lot of criticism because they were alleging that all the images that you had posted onto their site was copyrighted by Instagram. It didn't even belong to you. It wasn't your image, even though you were the one who took it and you were the one that was in the image. So there are a number of legal issues with that. They changed their terms and conditions after that happened. So we'll see how it all plays out in the future. But again, whenever it comes to the internet, I think that it's important to educate people, especially kids, as much as possible so they know what they're getting into before they overshare. And yes, I agree. I love oversharing as well, but I do so as an adult who knows the full consequences.